Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about the simple science of essential oils in the body. And it's going to be presented by Cheryl Harris. So Cheryl is in Florida, and she's been using essential oils for over a decade. So we are so excited to hear from her, and share this information with you. Take it away, Cheryl.
Thank you, Jade. Okay, so as she said, I'm going to be talking about the simple science of essential oils in the body. Now, when I first started using essential oils, that just wasn't something that I really thought about was the science part of it. I was just ready to use them to try and get some results, to deal with some of uh, the situations I was having, or the whatever the the issues I was having at the time. So this has been really fun for me to kind of go through and put together some of the stuff I've learned over this past decade. And I'm keeping it very simple because that's how I like things. So, and I hope this will be beneficial to you all. Okay, so science has a lot to do with chemistry, right? So when it comes to the body, everything is chemistry. Every cell, organ, and tissue in the body performs its function using enzymes, receptors, and other proteins, which work together to break down, build up, and rearrange the chemical bonds in biological molecules. Essential oils also operate under the principles of chemistry. In fact, the chemical makeup of essential oils is what gives them the ability to affect the body's many different systems. So there's a few questions that kind of surround essential oils. One is there scientific validation for using essential oils? And then what is the science behind essential oils? And then why learn about essential oil science? So to answer the first question, there is validation for using essential oils. However, essential oils have been used for thousands of years. But as with science, it takes a while to catch up sometimes. And right now, there is lots of, I would say, studies being done on the potential of essential oils and how that they can support the many systems of our body. So what is some of the science behind essential oils? Um, each bottle of essential oils contains a unique blend of chemical constituents, and these compounds are volatile and organic, meaning they quickly evaporate and their chemical structures are primarily composed of carbon atoms. Constituents can produce powerful effects through their interaction with cellular targets, and some constituents can attach to receptors located on the outside of a cell to influence change within it, while others can readily pass through the cellular membrane and bind to enzymes, proteins, and even DNA. So I am fascinated by exactly, kind of what I'm learning about how the essential oils work with the cells. Um, I While I was putting this together, I was thinking a lot about the modern approach to wellness, and how um, the synthetic um, uh, the synthetic oh I'm trying to stay compliant, and it's really, really hard, but the synthetic options that we have out there, they're actually designed to block, in many cases, the receptors on our cells. And when we start blocking receptors on our cells, um, we start having some malfunctioning of the cells. And then that continues to kind of become bigger and bigger, the snowball effect, if you will. And so um, this science that's coming forth now has been absolutely amazing, and showing us exactly what the essential oils do for our cells at that cellular level that is so vital. So as we keep learning about essential oil science, we start to understand the benefits and how the chemicals in the oils interact with us, and within our cells. And as we start to understand this is going to help us to be able to apply the oils better in our life on a daily basis. So that is something now that is important to me, which wasn't so much important before, because I want to know so that I can share with others what I know. And some people, they need that scientific study to show them, to say, hey, this is why this works. And so I'm hoping that I'll be able to help with that a little bit today. Any questions or comments?
Oh, that's really beautifully said and explained, Cheryl. I need to understand the science behind the oils as well, because when I write the books, it tells me what it does on the emotional and spiritual level as well. So whatever the chemicals are, say like if it's anti-inflammatory or whatever, it gives me a clue of what it can do for us on the emotional level. Yeah. Or if it shares similar chemistry with another oil, I can, relate and link the two. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so here's a quick course in chemistry of essential oils, and just backing up just a bit. I just love that you talk about the emotions, because the emotions create chemicals within our body as well. And so again, emotions is a component of the whole essential oil and the body chemistry working together. So the molecular structure of essential oils is tiny and extremely concentrated. So one drop contains approximately 40 million trillion molecules. That's a 4 with 19 zeros behind it. That is just so huge to me. And it's estimated that the human body has approximately 37 trillion cells, which means that one drop of essential oil is going to cover all the cells in our body with over 100,000 molecules per cell. And that is just, to me, like, wow. It's beyond science, when you think about it. So it takes one molecule of the right kind to open a receptor site and communicate with the DNA to alter cellular function. And that was very interesting to me too. That helps me to understand why it's good to use a variety of different kinds of oils. Because you don't know exactly which molecule it is that you need, because that's the one thing that's not as simple about the science of essential oils in the body, is because there's so many variations of chemicals within our body as well as within the oils. And so how they connect could be, how we react to it could depend on just the one molecule. It's possible to overload the receptor sites and cause them to freeze if we use too much of the good stuff. And that's why we say less is better when using oils, but sometimes more is better too. So it's really good that we start with less and work our way up. So that's pretty much I would say, a law to live by when you're using essential oils. Start with a little and work your way up. Essential oil molecules enter the cell membrane via passive diffusion. And I think it's just, oh my gosh, God just created us so unbelievably well. All of our cells have this protective membrane around them. There are things that can enter in also passively to the cells. Most many things are too big to enter the cells passively. But with passive diffusion, we know that essential oils can go through and get into the cells that way. There's oxygen, carbon dioxide, alcohol. There's a few other things that can actually pass through that lipid layer of the cell. And the fact that a plant-based molecule can go in there as well, I feel is important for us to understand, because the cells need sometimes to be cleaned out, and we need them to be able to get into that cell to be able to help clean them out. And so that's just a nice thing to understand about the essential oils and how they can enter our cells at that level. So essential oils are a mixture of dozens, even hundreds of constituents, all of which are composed of carbon and hydrogen and sometimes oxygen. And all essential oils are principally composed of a class of organic compounds built of isoprene units. And these isoprene units are sets of 5 connected carbon atoms and 8 hydrogen attached. And their scientific title would be C5H8. The molecular or an isoprene unit is only about 68 AMU, which is the atomic mass unit. So that is very, very small. And molecules built on isoprene units are all classified as terpenes. And terpenes are what make essential oils unique in the world of natural substances. And so now I'm going to just kind of go over, well, actually not yet. So these are the doTERRA oil chemistry wheels. And these are very helpful if you are you just want to at a glance try and figure out a little bit about the chemistry and essential oils. So there's 2 backbones, type of backbones that we're going to see in the chemistry of essential oils. There's the monoterpene backbone and then the sesquiterpene backbone. And then you have your functional group, which is the next ring in your chemistry wheel. You've got your esters, alcohols, and ethers, and then aldehydes and phenols and phenol propenes and monoterpenes as well. And then you've got your chemical constituents, and then it takes you to the oils, which will bring you to what the effect is or could be from those oils. Now, mind you, these are not all inclusive, these chemical wheels. They are just giving you an idea of the things that are most prominent in that particular essential oil. Okay, so we've got the monoterpene backbone oils, and then we got some sesquiterpene, and then there's also a chart so that you can kind of look at that and see what each ring of that circle means. Okay. All right. So the 3 terpenes to remember, and I broke this down just to 3 terpenes because I just felt it's a lot simpler to kind of grasp the whole concept of the chemical constituents in the oils and how they work in the body. So the first one is going to be phenols and phenylpropanoids. And while they have many jobs that they do, I feel, and from everything that I've read, their biggest, what would be a good word for that?
Function.
Their greatest function is that they cleanse the receptor sites. Okay. So they create conditions which allow the proper transfer of hormones, peptides, neurotransmitters, steroids, and other intracellular messengers. They're powerful antibacterial and anti-infectious chemicals, and they have antiseptic properties as well. they are really great at stimulating the nervous and the immune systems. And so some of these oils are clove. Well, we know that's probably one of the best antioxidant oils there are out there.
Mhm.
We've got oregano, which is right there with it, and thyme, and cassia, and cinnamon bark, peppermint, and surprisingly fennel. I did not realize, but fennel has about 80% of phenylpropanoid in it, which is, it surprises me just because it's not a hot oil like the others are. And so, but it does, it's very high in that. So it's a great one to think about when you're thinking about cleansing your receptor sites on your cells. Okay, the next one is sesquiterpenes. So when you think about this, their incredible function would be to deprogram bad information. So they deliver oxygen molecules. A lot of the oils do that. They deliver the oxygen molecules to the cells, but sesquiterpenes tend to deliver even more oxygen to the cells, kind of like hemoglobin does in the blood. And this creates an environment where sick cells can't reproduce, which is what we really want. We do not want those sick cells to continue to reproduce. And when there's lots of oxygen present, it's nearly impossible for them to reproduce. So they can surpass the blood-brain barrier and enter brain tissue. And they are antibacterial, strongly anti-inflammatory, sedative, and calming. And so we have cedarwood, copaiba, ginger, myrrh, patchouli, sandalwood, spikenard, and vetiver. And these are all the heavier oils, and sesquiterpenes tend to have a larger molecule. So that makes them a lot thicker. And it's interesting to me too, that these ones are known for being able to surpass the blood-brain barrier and enter brain tissue because they are a larger molecule. So I think that's pretty cool. I wish I understood more about the science behind why that is. I'm sure science will catch up to that eventually and be able to tell us better. But another oil, and these oils that I'm showing you are not the only ones, but they are the ones that are the highest. And frankincense could also be considered a sesquiterpene because it does have quite a bit of sesquiterpene in it, but it's predominantly monoterpene, and which is what we're going to be talking about next. So monoterpenes their function is to reprogram correct information. So they work at both a subcellular and an intracellular level. They protect against free radical damage and work within the cell to produce properly programmed strands of RNA and DNA. And we've got grapefruit, and there's Frank, and black spruce, cypress, juniper berry, lemon, pink pepper, and Siberian fir. And of course, again, there's many more, but these are the ones that are really high. And I like that I've narrowed it down to just these three. It just helps keep everything in a nice little package, because sesquiterpenes and monoterpenes, almost all of the other chemical constituents in the oils fall under those two categories. So the phenols and the phenylpropanoids, they kind of are mostly under the monoterpenes. And you'll find that almost all essential oils have, to some degree, monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes. Okay, so that means they're kind of a nice little package of everything. So you can remember this. It's a little bit out of order, but PMS. So you've got the phenols, the monoterpenes, and the sesquiterpenes. So just a little way to help you kind of remember that a little bit better. So any questions or comments on this slide?
That's awesome. I love it. I'm going to share this with people. You explained it very well.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So I don't know if I was allowed to do this, but I did it. I pulled these off of the doTERRA's oil chemistry workbook. Just because I've just pulled a few because I just wanted you to be able to see a breakdown. And again, these are not all of the oil, the constituents that are in these oils, but they're showing you the most dominant ones, the most prominent. So these are the oils that are high in phenol, I always say that wrong, and phenylpropanoid compounds. And you can see that the carbon backbone in the light purple is mostly monoterpene. And then it's got some sesquiterpene there too. But the functional group is the phenol, which is the powerful cleaner, powerful cleaner of the receptor sites. And then we've got oregano, which also has a mostly monoterpene backbone, but it's very high in phenylpropene, which is that powerful receptor site cleaner as well. And then we've got cedarwood. So these are the sesquiterpene compounds, the ones that are high in that. You can see that this is showing the carbon backbone is mostly is all sesquiterpene, but then it's got alkene as well. So we're focused on the sesquiterpene for this one because this is going to be our deprogramming function. And then here we go again with Vetiver, which has a very high percentage of sesquiterpene in its backbone. And then you can see all these other chemical constituents that fall under that group. So, and then here for the monoterpene, we've got grapefruit, which has a very high monoterpene backbone. And then again, the alkenes, which are really great antioxidants as well. And then frankincense, which you can see has a little bit more sesquiterpene than some, and a lot more monoterpene. And there's a lot more to that. And it's also got that added component of other, which I don't know what those are, what those chemical constituents are, but they make frankincense super powerful. So, all right. So the science, the doTERRA science.
Cheryl, can we go back there just one last slide?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to make a quick comment just to reiterate what you said. I love that the essential oils have so many active ingredients. Sometimes we have medications that have 1 or 2 active ingredients, but with the essential oils, there's many. And this is why science can't duplicate it, because there's so many to copy. And the other thing about this is, although we're talking about chemicals, there's something about these oils that are living, in the sense that it is intelligent, and it's can go to the areas of your body that your body needs it, you know, and whether you know it or not. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of times we think we have this one problem over here, but it also helps with these other things that we didn't realize needed to be fixed as well. And the idea is, when we have several of these oils going in there, taking different pathways, is that it helps with that miscommunication, because disease is a miscommunication of the cells. And so when, like Cheryl said, when it cleans the cell receptors, it starts to communicate better, and it starts to produce the hormones it needs, or whatever it needs to heal. So I really appreciate that you're going through all of this and explaining these different chemistry. That's the point. We understand that there's these chemicals and what the functions, But, you know, it's not just these, it's just many others that keep it in its complete molecular structure. And so that it's stable in our body, so that our body doesn't respond to that instability that we get with the 1 or 2 active ingredients created in a lab, right? And causes negative side effects. So instead, we'll experience lots of positive side effects that is unintended. So
yeah, I love that. Thank you, Jade. So a couple of there's a lot of places that, well, not a lot, there's a few places that I like to go to learn a little bit more. And so one of them is the doTERRA Science blogs. So I found just a couple of studies, but there's lots on there that kind of back up what I'm saying. And this particular study on clove showed that it's rich in monoterpene, phenol, and it's the phenol. And what is it that phenols do? Anybody want to answer that one?
They cleanse.
They cleanse the receptor sites, right? So this study showed that clove essential oil actively impacts human genes and signaling pathways. And to me, that they're activated because they are cleansing those receptor sites so that the cells can communicate well with each other as well as the rest of our body. So just awesome. Okay, and then this one here is on, well, of course, they've got cinnamon bark and oregano, but this one is also in the phenols, which is cleansing of the receptor sites. And so one of the things that I have always been fascinated by cytokines. When I was in taking anatomy and physiology, I don't know why, I just love learning about cytokines because really that's that important part of our immune system that when it's working properly, it keeps us healthy. It helps to, our immune system, but it can also go the other way. So when our cells aren't communicating well, one of the things that we can experience is cytokine storms. And that's where we get inflammation and fever and all these icky stuff that, we experience with the common flu. But cytokines, when they're distributed as they should be, are very beneficial to the healing of our body and to keeping us strong and healthy. But when they get out of whack, we have lots and lots of issues with diseases and things. So oregano is very powerful at helping our body pretty much respond more healthy to these stressors in our systems. So anyway, I liked that one.
Cheryl, it's kind of like inflammation. If you have acute inflammation, it's helpful. And if you have like the chronic inflammation, it creates a lot of problems. That's kind of like what you're saying there.
Yeah, on the science side.
Yeah, on the science side, because that creates the inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good when it's balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay. And this is a website that I like to look at from time to time. It's PubMed. They have a lot of papers and stuff that are written and, studies that are published and stuff. And this one popped up when I was looking, just happened to be browsing through to see what there was out there. And it was right on what the topic that I was looking for. So this one is about cancer, chemo prevention, and therapy by monoterpenes. And I mean, how much more evidence can you get that a monoterpene is great for helping alter gene expression? We've got monoterpenes. It says right here, monoterpenes are found in essential oils, in the essential oils of many plants, including fruits, vegetables, and herbs. And it even says they prevent the carcinogenesis process at both the initiation and the promotion or progression stages. So these basically monoterpenes, they're finding they are helpful in treating early and advanced stages of cancer. Like there's several studies out there like this that you can find, and I'm just like in awe that we have these things, but can we not, how do we get that out to all the world, all this information that we have, the answers, we have the help, but it really is about educating and helping people understand that the chemistry that is found in these pure plant extracts are the godsend that we've needed. They've always been. They've been here from the very beginning to help humankind. And I love that science will eventually catch up to that knowledge. And anyway.
So Cheryl, you know,
Uh-huh.
these oils that you just mentioned, like the clove,
Mhm.
that's the phenols, right? Clove and the thyme, the phenols, cleansing receptor sites. That's the ingredients in the DDR prime blend.
Mhm.
And then you got Frankie, that is it has sesquiterpene and monoterpenes. That's like deprogram bad, and then reprogram as well.
Yep.
So, and then you've got your citrus oils, that's lots of monoterpenes, and that's reprogramming. So our doTERRA DDR prime blend is designed, you know, with this in mind. So, you know, people just need to use it. And I think the problem is perhaps that people don't understand how powerful it is, so don't appreciate it, don't use it consistently enough, and then don't choose to make the changes that are required. So we need to have all the levels taken care of, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual levels that need to be changed, so we can maximize the benefits of these oils and the blends that are, you know, are created for us. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I love DDR prime. And that's my go-to whenever I'm just kind of feeling a little off physically. So it's been very beneficial to me.
Mm.
Thank you, Jade. All right. And so I think this is my last slide, but this is just other resources that I like to use to help me better understand um, the essential oils and how they can best serve me. Modern Essentials. I love this book. I've got several what do you call them, editions of this one. And I've had several from the very beginning, and it's been probably my main source for getting like really getting to know what the oil can do for me. So it's got on the pages, this is just a copy that I took a picture of. And I know you probably can't see it very well because I can hardly see it on my screen, and I've got my screen kind of blown up, but it's got the chemical constituents listed. And then it's got also some studies and the research that has been done, so that you can go in and look it up and find out things for yourself, and how, you know, that has what they have found as far as what they can do, what their potential is. And it has all kinds of other things. This is my essential oil Bible, really. Okay, and then the doTERRA website. So if you go to the, doTERRA.com, and across the top of the screen, you can hit on Discover, and then you hit on Science. It will take you to this page, the blog, and it's got, I couldn't copy the whole page, but you scroll down and there's different things. And one of them is resources. And I like that the resource, you can actually download the Essential Oil Chemistry Handbook. Very, very good information in there if you really want to just get more information about that. And of course, they break down all the oils with their chemicals, so you can kind of see that in there. And then they've got the chemistry wheels that you can download and print off as well, which are very helpful at a glance to kind of finding what it is that you need or that you would like. But other than that, that is what I heard.
Helpful.
Huh?
Thank you, Cheryl. That's so helpful with the Modern Essential. I think every family should have one if you're starting out. I think that's the book that I went to like every day for 6 months or something. I felt like I read it to cover because I started at the beginning and I just went through and I read. It was just so helpful, just give you a lot of information there. So I think anybody that's serious should just get one of those. It's very inexpensive. You can get it on aromatools.com.
And it's very thick.
Yeah, now it's getting thicker.
Very thick compared to what it was when I first got mine. But
Yeah. It's getting thicker, but it's so helpful for anybody that's serious about learning. And it seems like it's kind of like a textbook, and it's maybe a little bit intimidating for some people, but it's worth it when you really want to learn about how to take care of your health. Yeah. And the website's great, the doTERRA website. Just take a little bit of time. The answers are there. I think we just need to put in a little bit of effort to learn stuff.
Yeah. Well, I hope that simplified things for everyone, just to give you an idea of how, the chemicals work in our body.
Mhm.
And
Thank you
help
so
us
much, Cheryl.
all the way around.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you, Kate.
awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad that we recorded this so we can share it with our friends. Does anybody want to add anything or say anything before we stop the recording?
Just that it was so good, Cheryl. Great job.
Thank you.
And you got two of my favorite oils in there right next to each other, grapefruit and frankincense.
Mhm.
I may have thought about you during that one. Those.
Oh, awesome. All right, ladies, I'll stop the recording and we'll be sure to post this